You look bored, they said. Restore a car, they said. It'll be easy, clean fun, they said. So I bought a car to restore. They lied. Restoration is a dirty, thankless job. Okay, BugeyeBob back here with you. Hope everybody had a fantastic Christmas and you had a great New Year's and safe and sober. Safe at least. So let's pick up and start getting back into things. I am working on the driver's door. I went through, cleaned it all off using surface conditioning tool, which I found I happen to like quite a bit. I actually cleaned off most of the rest of the rear body of the car also with it. Let's take a quick look around the car itself and take a closer look at some of the upcoming repairs that have to be done. You can see there's a big dent there. This is all beat the hell out of. The rear deck on the car is pretty rusty, needs a lot of work done on it. And then coming around to this left rear wing, this has to be repaired and fixed all the way down there. There's some denting in here that's got to be straightened out. Of course, all of that across the back. Let's see if I can do a flip up on its side real quick. So right now, my plan at getting at the rear wing areas is I'm going to cut this rotted out metal out. That should give me room to get my arm up in there with the dolly behind and start working that stuff around. And I don't know how much of this rear deck I'll be able to save, but I'll probably be able to save some of it. And that's how things are going to go with that. The more I get done, the less work I have to do. So let's talk about other things now. I'm left with places like up in here where you can't get in at, down inside of here. Do I have a light? I know I've got a light. Where the hell did I put my light at? So you can't get down inside of there, around on the edges, all that sort of stuff. I know that the door support that goes in right here, the bracket has to be replaced. And if you look around on the outside of this thing, you will see, shit, if I can get it in a place where you can see it. There's a bunch of X's. Those are spot welds I gotta drill out. And there's a bunch of other marks around at various places where I need to be able to get in. But I've got to get more rust off of this thing before I get going any further. So to get the rust off, I need a way of being able to sandblast this thing. I have this cute little sandblaster. I'm not going to try doing it with a big one because it's a fucking mess. So what I did was I built a see-through sandblasting cabinet. Now, your first question really has got to be, why in the hell did you build a see-through sandblasting cabinet? Well, the answer is, a few years back, I bought a bunch of this 18 mil plastic. It's used like for the rear window of convertible tops. They use it on yachts and other things where they want to be able to put a zip up windows and things like that in. So I built a whole bunch of storm windows out of this stuff for my back patio. And we used it one year and never used it again. And it sat up overhead here. You probably saw it sitting up overhead in some of the videos and stuff. And the more I thought about it, the more I thought, yeah, that stuff's just collecting dust up there. and it's probably a fire hazard up there. If any of it ever catches on fire, it's going to burn like hell. So I'm going to take and tear it all apart. And at the same time I had decided to tear it all apart, I decided I need a sandblast cabinet. So I took all the wood, cut it up, made the frame out of the wood, took the plastic, cut it up, made the sidewalls and stuff. And the way I figure it, I've probably got enough of this plastic to replace these sidewalls, 10, 15, maybe even 20 times. So that's going to last me a good long time. Bought a set of gloves to go in it. Got a place to run an air hose from the inside out. Made it just big enough to fit on one of these 30 by, I guess they're 30 by 60 or something like that, tables. It's not going to trap every bit of sand, but I can take another sheet of this plastic, throw it down underneath of it, lift this thing up, stick my door in there, stick the gun in there, stick a container of blasting media in there, and I should be able to just blast the hell out of that door and not get stuff blown all over the place too much. I have an air vent down here that's just got a paper filter for a vacuum cleaner across the front of it that I can replace. Hopefully that's going to let me knock the rust off of stuff, save the grit, and since all this took was time, I already had all the materials, it saved me several $100s. So I am going to take a break, move this outside, and see how it works. Well, so far, the only complaints I have is I wish that I had put 30-inch long gloves on it instead of 24s. For doing a door, it's a bit tight, but it's working. The only other real complaint is just how often I have to stop and refill the little gun. I could probably put the big gun in there, but to be honest with you, I don't know if I want to go to all that hassle. The one other complaint I have is this hose on the unit is really, really stiff. I have another hose that looks like this. It's pretty flexible, and I'm thinking maybe what I should do is take the end off of the hose that I got in there, put it on this, and then run this one through and out and try using that instead. Maybe I'll do that. Maybe I'll take a second here and do that. All right, that looks better. Put that on the end of there. And okay, let's see how this thing works. Well, the other thing is I don't have any vacuum going out. I don't have a vacuum hooked up so it sucks out the dust. So it keeps the dust within the cabinet, but it also makes it kind of hard to see at times. So just the way things are. Reach down and swat that like button, pop in a quick comment, and subscribe to this channel. You can help save Lazarus from the scrap bin by making a one-time donation via PayPal, or join as a member on Patreon. See the links below. That's about how long it takes for that thing to run out of media. Yeah, now you just got to be able to pick the damn gun up. There we go. I think I probably want to wear a mask while I'm cleaning the sand back up, or the glass back up, rather. Because there is a bunch of dust coming out.
It's time to make a change. I'm gonna move away and change my name. I said the world's in a tangle. What's going on? I'm going to a foreign land, make it my home. You could be having a good day, as jolly as you can be. I bet you'll get the blues when you turn on the TV, 'cause the world's in a tangle. Oh, what's going on? I'm going to a foreign land and make it my home. Let me hear that mandolin a while. Some promise us peace while we're living, but we have to get it when we die. The world's in a tangle. Oh, what's going on? I'm gonna go to a foreign land, make it my home. Mr. Banjo Man.
Well, based upon what little I see on the ground, right down there, it looks to me like this thing is trapping better than 99.9% of the dust and glass. So I'm going to continue on, and we'll be back with you when I'm done. This has been a week of making equipment, buying equipment, testing out the equipment I made, doing a little bit of dolly work with a slapper hammer, to take a little bit of a dent out of the door and just kind of get back into the swing of things. So first off, this is a new piece of equipment. This is a shrinker stretcher. One side shrinks the metal, compresses it this way. The other side stretches the metal, pulls it apart this way. And using it, you can take a straight piece of metal and do things like this with it. You shrink around the inside here, you stretch around the outside here, you shrink around the inside here. This was not stretched. This was shrunk a little bit in here. So you can make some pretty tight, fancy twists and turns with it, which may come in handy later on. Fella that had this also had an English wheel that I'd love to have gotten. This, you can't, I paid $200 for it. You can't find one of these things made today that's made as solid. This is like 3/8 inch plate steel there. And the tube looks like 1x3 tube. The ones they sell today just have a single post up there, and I don't think you can find anything as solid build as this for the price. This was an old Harbor Freight unit from, I'm guessing, 10 or 15 years ago, but it is solid. I mean, even these pieces here are like, I don't know, 1/4 inch, maybe 3/8, I'm not sure. Good solid equipment. I said I'd been working on taking the dent out of the door. There was a small dent here. There was another one up in here, and there was a real bad dent right in here. And I've got it down now. You can see there's still some dent in here, there, and there, a little bit of a dent here. This dent here, I can run a piece of metal over it like that. This happens to be a very thin ruler with a piece of cork on the back, but I can run that over it. And you can see that it didn't take off all the permanent magic marker there, but it's so shallow, I'm not going to worry about it. This one here, a little bit deeper. That's a hole that's just going to have to be filled anyways, because there's no way to get at that and pound it back out. So it's hard to get a dolly back up in here, and I don't have a dolly that's got the right angle or the right curve to it. I've got a couple of dollies, but neither one of them has a shallow enough curve to fit this door. If I did, I could get this further out, but I can't with the dollies that I've got. This is probably a 64th of an inch, maybe a 32nd of an inch deep. So it is what it is, and it's going to stay. Still have more sandblasting to do on this door. And I still have more patching to do. My sandblast cabinet, I showed you some things on it. It seems to work fairly well. Is it as good as a factory-made one? I don't know. I don't have a factory-made one to compare it to. But I do know that it will work for my purposes for the time being. So that's where we're going with it. So again, this week has been basically making equipment, buying a piece of equipment, testing out the equipment I made, doing a little bit of damage repair, metal work on the door. Did I get as much done as I wanted to? Hell no, I never do. Nobody ever gets as much done as they want to. But I think it's progress. One of the problems I ran into with this little blaster I found was reusing the grit. I hadn't been running it through a sieve, however you want to pronounce it. That blaster came with this little tiny cup, which will let 80 grit through it and keep big crud out. But it takes a long time, so I've got to see if I can come up with a larger sieve, whatever you want to call it. Strainer. We'll call it a strainer. I got to come up with a large sand strainer for that damn thing. By larger, I mean bigger, not with larger holes in it. It has to stay fairly fine. So that's going to call it for this week. Like, share, comment, subscribe, ask questions. comments, questions, like, those all help the channel grow. If you have a better idea than I have, let everybody know. Gotten some really good comments from some people lately, so I'm really pleased with that. There's been some other channels that I've been watching, and when I find things on those other channels that I can pass along to you folks, I'll do that. And like I do with Fitzy Fabrications, or Goozy Fabrications, I think that's his name, I pass those tips along, and I like to give credit to the people that I got the idea from. So I will point out other people that are doing some of this stuff. I figure the more people, the larger your source of information to pick from, the better your results will be. One of the problems that we have with our educational system nowadays is kids aren't taught to research. They're taught to accept what I tell you. When I went through school, I had one teacher that said, never believe anything I said, no matter how true it sounds. Always double check it. And that's good teaching. So until next week, BugeyeBob over and out, and you folks have a blessed life. Thank you very much for watching.